This bit I'm about to play is about a development in Ghana. Something's happening in Ghana, and Ghanaians, I think there are two videos. Ghanaians are speaking up, and I want you to take a listen to this.
This is a disturbing development creeping up in Ghana, and every well-meaning Ghanaian will have to sit up and grant me your attention for just a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen. A man born in Nigeria who settled in Ghana some decades ago and over time became well-respected leader among his tribesmen has now set up a kingdom for himself in our country, ladies and gentlemen. He is an Igbo man bearing the title Eze Chukudi Ihenetu. I hope I'm saying it right. He has the title Eze in the Igbo Ghana, which translates King of Igbo people in Ghana. His tribesmen in Ghana crowned him this position and the title in 2012. And these are his images, ladies and gentlemen. A very fine gentleman whom we are told is married to a Ghanaian. And as a typical Ghanaian, ladies and gentlemen, I have no problem with that at all. But many people, including myself, will have a problem with anyone or any situation that has the potential to undermine our sovereignty as a republic. What has made our country livable for all people for many years is our hospitality towards one another and to foreigners, ladies and gentlemen. And that cannot be circumvented by any external tribe nor group of people. Ghana has a common chieftaincy practice of installing foreigners as development chiefs for the purpose of providing value to our local communities. This is a typical thing in Ghana. And hence, I thought what this man and his tribesmen were doing was something in line of that. Until, ladies and gentlemen, I read from an internet publication that they, and I mean the Igbo people, or he as a king in Ghana, has acquired acres of lands to build an Igbo town and establish an Igbo kingdom within Ghana. This is where I became disturbed, even though I'm yet to see any substantive evidence for this acquisition. That would be totally unacceptable, ladies and gentlemen. Fellow Ghanaians, I want to believe this is a falsified story. But if not, this is not something we should entertain or allow to continue. Ghana is a sovereign country alongside our kings and our chiefs. They are called kings and chiefs for historical reasons. They have fought and protected their lands and been the source of the unity of our people till this modern era. It is not a title given out of charity, ladies and gentlemen. There is a meaning and a story behind every stool or throne in Ghana. There is a story behind every stool, land, and family lineage that authenticates the royalty of our kings and chiefs. These institutions are not to be toyed with nor replicated in any shape or form, ladies and gentlemen. People have fought and died in the protection of their clans and tribes and lands in Ghana. It used to be our system of governance before the colonizers came in, and therefore should be respected whether by foreigners or locals, ladies and gentlemen. What is happening with this self-acclaimed king of Igbos in Ghana, if true, will be a direct infringement on our chieftaincy structure and the sovereignty of our country as a whole. This cannot happen in any other region outside of Accra, and even in Nigeria. Can this even happen in Ashanti region, ladies and gentlemen, or any of the northern regions? In fact, this shouldn't happen in any other country, and shouldn't happen for that matter in Ghana. The Igbo people of Biafra need a king and true leadership in these times of struggle for an Igbo nation. That cannot be done in a strange land. What this man is trying to do in Ghana will undermine his own people's effort for freedom from Nigeria. And I don't think his intention is to create a kingdom here in Ghana and move his people along. If he indeed has the resources and the know-how to lead his people, this is the time to stand up strong for your people in Abia and Anambra and Ibonyi and Enugu and in Imo states in Nigeria. Biafra is at crossroads with the federal government of Nigeria, and we as Ghanaians don't want to meddle in that. To be crowned a king is not simply by an election.
All right. He has a lot to say, and I feel his pain. The stupidity is becoming international now. So Shay, it's bigotry. What are you going to call this one? Bigotry, Abi? Another person's, you know what? Let's listen just a little bit more because it's still playing. But I'm going to stop it at some point because I've done that video.
During the times of the formal government or the president, this man was seen, invited, and associated with the leadership of our country. And before the elections were held last year, he paid a visit to our current president. This is what he has used to gain for himself the popularity and the needed attention, ladies and gentlemen. But that's definitely not what Ghana needs at this time. We are not in need of more kings and chiefs, ladies and gentlemen. We have a diplomatic relationship with Nigeria, and that should be observed. The idea of our immigration officers inviting him and working with him is not going to be a healthy thing for Ghana and Nigeria's relationship in the long run. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to pay attention to all these. Nigeria has a high commissioner in Ghana. He is the representation of Nigerian government in Ghana. He is the one to be consulted or engaged on whatever the issues may be. Ladies and gentlemen, we the people of Ghana must be vigilant with the happenings in our country. We have come a long way with our differences, and that shouldn't be undermined under any circumstance. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome people from every part of Africa and the world to our country because that is who we are as a people. We are inherently peaceful people who just want to go about our business and live in peace with all men. We have what many African countries never had. We are one of the few African countries that has never experienced a civil war since independence, and we've had a stable democracy in the last 33 years. We have successfully seen the transition of political powers in that time frame, ladies and gentlemen, and we cannot be naive of the threats to these achievements. There is absolutely no need nor room for an Igbo king of Ghana or Yoruba king of Ghana or any sort of king on our land. How does it even work, ladies and gentlemen? Does it mean we will have to resort to him when an Igbo person is at loggerheads with our laws or not? That cannot be, because no Nigerian travels to Ghana or to any country on a passport issued by an Igbo state. It is Nigeria we deal with and should remain so until there is a country called Igbo. Nigeria is a friend and a strategic partner of Ghana, and that is how far it should go. A similar thing was happening in the Adan area in the Greater Accra region when a group of Lebanese people bought lands and wanted to build a Lebanese community that will prohibit Ghanaians from accessing, ladies and gentlemen. They likewise wanted a town and a system for themselves within Ghana. Could that ever happen in Lebanon or in Nigeria for Ghanaians under any circumstance? Ladies and gentlemen, let's be guided and not be naive. What then becomes of our originality should that happen on our soil? It is true that historically the Ga tribe originated from an Igbo community in Nigeria, but those who actually migrated left for a reason and chose to stay and not return. They have since then installed their own kings and chiefs at this point and contributed significantly to our nation's building. The Ga tribe in Ghana live a completely different reality.
Actually, they made a mistake. The Ga have nothing to do with the Igbo. They actually have everything to do with the Yoruba people. They traveled all the way to meet the Oni some years ago. And the king of Ghana also invited the Oni during the inauguration of the present president of Ghana. You know what they're saying? Almost Ghana. You see, Yoruba people have been in Ghana for more than 200 years. I'm not even talking about the gas or the primer. I'm talking about I want to I want Yoruba. What you want for a very long time. What you want ti pẹ́. Àwọn eléyìí débẹ̀ kò tí tó dùn ta. Ó ti dé point tó jẹ́ pé àwọn èèyàn wá ń sọ wípé Igbo must go. Like how when we talk, people say, to be honest, this culture is underdeveloped. Because there's no way on earth where whatever that person did 1,000 years ago, you want to do it in 2025. And no, you're not doing it in your hometown. You're going to do it everywhere else. And then you are going to establish small places and call yourself kings there. And who knows what's going to happen in the next 2 generations? We are indigenous to that place now. It's not 1600 though. It's it's in the 1800s. It's the mid 18th century, not 1600. Abba. The point is that whatever you think is happening, and this is why I said it's not about individuals, it's a cultural problem. It's a cultural problem. Somebody says my grandparents lived in Ghana in the 50s. I had a lecturer when I was in school. Baba Lamapo became my HOD at some point. He grew up in Ghana, and at that time, that man was born in early 1940s. His parents were there. He grew up there before they now moved. I think they were in Takoradi. Some people got there yesterday. You know, in the beginning, let me tell you what happened. In the beginning, like a while back, like a couple of years ago, the Ghanaians were saying Nigerians must go. They were saying that because of a particular ethnic group. Today, they are not mentioning Nigeria again. They are mentioning the particular group. I know the problem. Not one person from that space says, oh, I think we're messing up. I think we're messing up. Maybe we shouldn't do it that way. No. Ghanaians are now xenophobic. See, why are you talking about Igbos? Afisheni. No sense of responsibility, no sense of accountability. I know it's nobody else's fault, but it's not your fault, but every other person's. I'm just trying to inform you, Yoruba or Nigerians, that the things we discuss here, and if you know, we're also very measured. I'm not one of those extremists that want to curse people out. But that doesn't change the fact that this issue is a clear and present danger. And the reason is not necessarily because you hate some people, it's because there's a culture that is underdeveloped. And that culture being allowed to spread around you in the name of we are one Nigeria is stupid. It's like expecting Ghana to allow it because we are all one West Africa. And this thing is happening everywhere. They set up some governors in South Africa this year, a few months ago. Taking on his Imo governor. Now this one is having a king with a title, wants to get land. See, just look in the comment section on TikTok, see what they're writing. Before I mute this one, because I need to send him back home to his father. His father did not raise him well. Just see what they're writing. That's how you know a people who are... no. Let me just... I say it... Regardless of the fact that there are people amongst Igbos who are not like this, I've always said they are the minute minority. And sincerely, they don't count. Why? They neither speak up, nor even show face. They are just there, hiding somewhere saying, we don't agree what they are doing. But the generality of the people, they think the exact same way. And why do they do so? Culture. The culture is backward. And see, the funny thing is that every culture in the world evolves. Culture is dynamic. Every culture evolves. It's a problem when a person or a group decides to live in the centuries past. Just stay there somewhere in the past, wishing for things they didn't have, trying to become something they would never wear. In their plays and their movies, all you see is Igwe here, Eze here. Meanwhile, in real life, it never happened in the past. Just trying to, meanwhile, if you're doing it in movies, I can even appreciate it. Maybe you're trying to relieve what you are seeing other people do. But why would you go everywhere? Why would you go everywhere? And if there's any group that insults Nigerian passport more than any other group in this world, it's people from the Southeast. And if there's any group that has destroyed that passport more than any other person in this world, it's people from the Southeast. I'm not saying other regions have not done terrible things in the name of Nigeria abroad. Of course, even Yoruba people have done terrible things. But I'm saying the idea of, even when Yoruba person does it, what's the reaction you see? You hear, for instance, that Hush Puppy, which is the greatest example people give, Hush Puppy, you are talking about this is wrong, it's going to affect the people. You see Yoruba people speaking up. That shows that even as a people, as a collective, you're taking responsibility for the action of one person, even though it's not really your problem. But it's your problem if you think about it. But no, you have these other ones who have thousands of people in Indonesian prisons, thousands of people in Indian prisons, all over the world. But guess what? They are the ones who insult the passport. Why do you think the passport is what it is right now? In Dubai, we are having issues. Why did you think that happened in Dubai? I'm not saying this because I hate the group. I'm just saying you guys should fix up. Like, at some point in your life, you have to take responsibility and say, the way we are moving, this is not how human beings move. This is wrong. This is inciting, and it's inciting. You incite people everywhere you go. Like, you're not like MTN. MTN is everywhere you go, but it's not just incite people. If everybody is complaining about a group, do you really think it's the problem of everybody or that group?